you. Aloha, and I'd like to welcome all of you who are candidates for CD2, pledged to Joe Biden, and also those who are voters who will be voting in this election that started on the 5th and will end tomorrow at midnight. And we'll be talking about more of the details of this later, but for now, I'd like to turn it over to my partner here and friend, John Bickle, who we've worked together on developing the presidential primary election. And John's going to be taking it from here on through the delegate selection process, of which he's pretty expert. So, John?
Thank you, Lorna, and thank you, Aaron, for your hard, long work today, and Tyler and Rich and all you people. This is fantastic. It's great to see all these many Democrats. I just wanted to let you know, first of all, that for the 2nd Congressional District for Joe Biden, they'll be chosen this week 3 males and 2 females. So that's the number of slots that we've got to do. What does it mean to be a delegate? I was a delegate at the convention in 2012 and 2016. First and foremost, and I'm sure you're aware, the number one thing you're going to do, of course, is vote for Joe Biden to be the nominee of the Democratic Party. But you're also going to vote for the platform. You have the opportunity to vote for platform and perhaps platform planks, but usually the platform as a whole. And I think it's really important to understand you'll be voting on rules. The Rules Committee has done some important changes in the last 4 years. So rules may be a contentious part of this convention, and be prepared to think about and vote on rules issues. If you do actually get an in-person convention, which is not terribly likely, but if that does happen, you get the opportunity to network. It's one of the great things that I enjoyed about the last 2 conventions I attended, was meeting people, exchanging ideas, exchanging contact information, and being able to follow up. I also want you to think about one more thing, please, and that is not just what happens on August 18th at the supposed convention. It's what happens beyond. We really need delegates to the National Convention to build the party. And this is really a commitment for you to not only help Joe Biden get the nomination, but it's to help Joe Biden be able to win, and win with a lot of Democrats in November. So we need to build the party for the long run, not just a short run convention. I thank you all for your commitment to that, and look forward to what you're about to say. Thank you.
Mahalo, John. Okay, so this is a fun, just think of it as a fun talk story. We're going to learn a little bit more about each of you. We get to see you, which is cool. You're not just a name on a ballot, but you're a real human being. So it's great to be able to share this time with you. And we're going to go in alphabetical order. I'm going to read everybody's name, regardless of whose name will be on the ballot, regardless if you're in the room. So that we can all hear the names of the people who are actually running. Trudy Barney, are you in the room, Trudy? Okay. Kai Brune? Kai? I know that Mike Galoyu Sr. is in the room. And I want to apologize, Mike, when we did the candidates' profiles, we mistakenly put your son's name out there, but we know that you're the senior in the house.
Okay. Oh, no, that's Tim, I see. So am I supposed to go then?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Aloha.
Aloha. Aloha. Well, I'm Mike Galoyu, and like my fellow candidates, I'm running to be a national delegate for Joe Biden. We all know how important this upcoming election is to get the person that's currently occupying the White House out. And I know former Vice President Joe Biden is the person that can do it. And that's why I strongly support it. Carol and I have lived in Makakilo for over 35 years. We've been involved with the Democratic Party of Hawaii at the encouragement of Martin Rice, a longtime Kauai party member and leader. I held various precinct club oppositions. I was elected as District 42 chair, and I am also the Senate District 20 male rep to the State Central Committee, or SCC. I've also had the honor to serve as the current co-chair for the SEC Platform Committee and a member of the Rules Committee. In the past, I've also served as a member on the State Legislative Committee and on various Oahu County Committee, including convention, co-chair of resolutions, etc. I've also been active with the Veterans Caucus, the LGBT Caucus, and the Labor Caucus. I say these things not to brag, but to let you know that I've been an active Democrat, and I believe that it's important to be active to support our next president, Joe Biden. I've had the opportunity to attend 2 national conventions, one as a delegate and the other as a guest. Besides the great speeches and the voting in the evenings, there are daytime caucus meetings. These are important events to attend, and I did my best to attend as many as I could. And unfortunately, as John mentioned, that may not happen this year. I could ramble on about our 18 years fighting for equal marriage rights on the street corners and at the legislature, but I just wanted you to know that I'm here to make sure that Joe Biden wins in November. I humbly ask for your vote as a national delegate. If you need more information, you can reach me at 808-779-9087 or my email at mikegaloyu@gmail.com. And I thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this afternoon.
Perfect. Mahalo, mahalo, mahalo. Thank you very much. Next is Jeremy Harris. Is Jeremy Harris in the room? And not, then I think I see John Itamura. John? Aloha, aloha, John.
Aloha. Good afternoon, everyone. I read a lot of the profiles. I just heard Mike. It's a very impressive credentials. I myself have been involved with the state of Hawaii through work as well as volunteerism. I'm currently the executive director at the Okinawan Center out in Waipio, and that's why I put that shot behind me. So I've been involved with this community, the Okinawan community, for over 20 years, just to show that, again, my charge of giving back to the community has always been with me. I started with the state over 25 years ago as a law clerk and went on to the Attorney General's office, where I serviced many different agencies, including the Campaign Spending Commission, as well as the Land Use Commission and Department of Education. I did then go over to the Campaign Spending Commission as their general counsel, followed by ending my career with the state at the Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs with the Division of Consumer Advocacy, which handles utility matters. And then back in July of 2019, I retired and came over to the Hawaii United Okinawa Association. I also spent 3 years working at the legislature, both on loan from the Attorney General's, as well as one stint with the Ways and Means Committee. While I was with the on loan, that was with the Judiciary Committee, Senate Judiciary. So my experience on the national level is practically nil, but having watched what's been going on with this president, the current president, even as he was being elected 4 years ago, it was clear to me that, again, you can't do anything from the sidelines. And my experience with the state is oftentimes you learn the most by being involved. So again, this is my foray into politics on this level and with the community like yourselves. I hope that I have at least an opportunity to inform you of my credentials. And if you have any other questions, my number is 282-5338. And thank you very much for this opportunity.
Mahalo, mahalo, John. Okay, next, aloha, Heather Kimball. Heather. Hi.
Hello, aloha. Hi, Lorna. Nice to see you. Good afternoon. My name is Heather Kimball. I'm here on Hawaii Island. I live here with my 2 daughters and a Hanai daughter. I have 4 daughters in total, and that's why I'm involved in politics. I am a scientist by training. I have 20 years of experience, first in genetics, and then in the last few years, I've been primarily focused on climate change research. And data is very important to me and decisions based on data. And so I started a consulting firm that was based on science-based policy making decisions. And my daughter called me and she says, "Mom, I know you're in politics. I know you're interested in climate change. She's married. This is my older daughter who's moved away. And she said, you know, we're thinking about kids, but we just don't know right now." And I'm not ready to be a grandma, I have to say, but it broke my heart because the world is in so many ways is burning right now. And I just cannot see for my daughters another 4 years under this presidency. I trust Joe Biden to select a good cabinet of people that use data, that is based in that make decisions based in science. And I want to see him in a leadership position, bringing the right people around him rather than the situation of complete expertise vacuum that we have right now. I currently serve as chair of the Hawaii County Committee for the party. I was formerly the assistant secretary for that committee. And in my role as that committee chair, what has been really important to me are two things. One, to build the membership, and two, to build unity within the party after. And so we've been doing a lot of work here, going out, talking to people, especially around the PPP. I was doing 2 and 3 meetings a day to make sure that people knew about the process and enroll the party if they need to. And then we also have a campaign, we're calling it the
Heather,
Wave campaign.
Heather, you're breaking up.
We've been fundraising, be engaged in the national. In addition to working on building our membership and recruiting young members into the party, we've also started fundraising for a Blue Wave campaign, which will allow people from our district to be involved in the national campaign in whatever form that takes under COVID. I appreciate your support as a national delegate for Biden. If you have any additional questions, my number is 333-1535. Thank you.
Thank you. Mahalo. Mahalo.
Thanks, Lorna.
Okay, is Kelly Takaya King here with us? Is Kelly? Did Kelly check in? No? Bronston Glenn Casau? No? John Lester. I thought I saw John Lester. No?
Aloha kako.
Oh, there you are. Good.
Yes,
Good.
I'm here.
Aloha.
Wow.
Aloha.
You know, everyone here are really amazing people, and I'm just so proud of the Democratic Party here and the people we have to put forward. We've had this extraordinary level of running on the presidential level. It just really gladdens my heart to see that. I think Joe's the person that can repopulate a decimated federal system that will allow us to keep our democracy strong. Just a little background. I've been here for 30 years. My father was IBEW. He worked in World War II, came through that side of it, started a small insurance agency to take care of his union brothers and sisters. I was born and raised union and Democrat. I'm a progressive socialist Democrat. I believe I'm trained as a nuclear engineer, large power systems engineer. I put in renewables. I helped start the renewable portfolio standard for the state of Hawaii. In 2002 on Maui, we were very frustrated with machine politics. And so we started something called the Ohana Coalition Maui. And we were the first citizen-powered political action committee in the state of Hawaii. When I went to Bob Watada, he said, "We don't know where to place you. We don't have a code for you." And I spent a year working closely every day, hours with Bob, as he helped us understand and meld into an extraordinary unit for unity and change and the ability for people to be able to speak directly. As a background, I've helped democracies in countries like Nepal and Guatemala start from that side. I totally believe in the democratic system and process. I spent 6 years active Navy and as a nuclear reactor operator on a submarine. I've helped the Tibetans in their push for freedom in certain ways. It's just been an extraordinary life. And the nexus, the blessing of that has been in here in the state of Hawaii, to be able to live here and to be able to support the people. Today, I work with something called the Pono Network, where we spend an hour with every single person running for local government. It's in Facebook under Pono Network if you want to see the kind of work we've done. And honestly, it's just, I feel my father, and also I'm Hanai to the Lindsay family here, Ed and Punani Lindsay of Lahaina. And Dad really, it just feels like it's time for this push to happen. Anybody here is going to make a great delegate. I mean, I'm just blessed to be here. And if it's me, it's great. But I will back anyone who has the ability to ensure that Joe has his moment in the sun. And at the same time, I'm glad to see Bernie and the others in this extraordinary bunch be able to help him put together this amazing process to save our union. So sorry, I can't see your, I think I've got 30 seconds left. Anyway, my telephone number is 808-264-1312, or you can get a hold of me at mauisean2@gmail.com, MAUISEAN with the number 2@gmail.com. Thank you very much, and I'm just happy that we're all here. Mahalo.
Mahalo, mahalo to you, John. Very nice, thank you. Okay, is Stephen Nishimura? Oh, yes, Stephen is here. Stephen, can you turn on? Ah, there you are. Aloha, Stephen.
Aloha. Hi, how are you? Hi, fellow Democrats. I'm here this Sunday trying to get your support to, consider me as a candidate for the National Convention. I am very much interested in seeing Joe Biden become the successive nominee for our party, because we definitely need to have his presence in America. I am a Democrat from a kid, because we were born and raised here in Hawaii, and that was generally what we were traditionally taught. I'm glad that I was given that opportunity at a young age to understand the differences about participation and what doing things politically means for society and our communities. This is something that we very much need today. We don't have the proper connections that address the amount of problems that people face. And this is why we're going through so much civil unrest today. We need to identify all of these things, and it is only the Democratic Party that will address these. The Republican Party people refuse to believe that any problem exists in America. And if they cannot see that with a boarded White House perimeter, then there's something obviously wrong with the general population. And this is why Joe Biden is the best person to bring America back to a sensible governing body where it represents, as our Constitution reads, everybody that is a citizen of our country. That's my passion, and I thank everybody for listening to this, because it is important. I'm getting on in my years, but the most important thing is the successive generations of Americans that take over, because as we retire, we'd like to enjoy what we've done and what we have contributed to our country. And I don't see that happening under Trump's term. So thank you very much for taking the time to listen to me, and please consider my candidacy for the job. Aloha.
Mahalo, mahalo, Stephen. Thank you. Okay, well, Flora, dear Flora Kobayashi, are you here, Flora? Oh, there you are.
I'm here. I'm here.
Aloha, Flora.
Aloha, Lorna, and everyone else. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but your video is off.
Could you turn your video?
Okay. There we are. Can I start now?
Yes. Yes. Aloha, aloha, Flora. Good to see you.
Aloha. I'm Flora Obayashi, and I ask for your vote to be the CD2 delegate for Joe Biden. I believe America desperately needs Joe Biden's leadership as president. In these last 3.5 years, our standing as a global leader has been systematically dismantled. As I watched us withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal, from the Paris Climate Agreement, from the Open Skies Treaty, and now the World Health Organization. In the last few days, we've seen the full force of the federal government turned on we the people, as our country has become more fractured and divided, and we witness justice and equality denied. It's my opinion that we're less powerful, we're less prosperous, we're less effective in dealing with the various domestic and international challenges. We need Joe Biden to unify the country. We need him to restore the trust that the United States once enjoyed as a global leader, to remove the barricades around that shining city on the hill. We need Joe Biden to put us back on track, to bring to the forefront once again the ideals from which our country was founded over 2 centuries ago, that our democracy matters and must be defended and protected. I firmly believe that Joe Biden has the right values, the visions, and the capabilities to lead the American people through Depression-era unemployment, rising pandemic deaths, and the civil unrest that is just heartbreaking. I was raised on Molokai, and I now live on Windward, Oahu, for all you Maui folks. I'm active in community service. Over the last decade, I was a member and I am a member and a past chair of the Kahalu Neighborhood Board. As vice president of the Emergency Management Professionals of Hawaii, I work to preserve life, property, and the environment by networking and collaborating with volunteers and professionals throughout our entire state, so that we can be prepared, respond, and recover from any disasters in our island communities. Please allow me to be your CD2 candidate or delegate for Joe Biden. Please vote for Flora Obiashi, and it would be my honor to serve. Mahalo nui loa.
Mahalo, Flora. Very nicely done. Very nicely done. Mahalo. Okay, Dr. Tim Riley, you're on. Aloha from Makaha.
From Makaha, yes. Aloha kako, o kimoke orale ko oinoa. I'm Tim Riley, and I am from Makaha. I am the Waianae Neighborhood Board Vice Chair, and I am gratefully honored to be the Democratic Party of Oahu's Region 8 Chairman. I can give you a little bit of background about myself. I got my bachelor's degree from Mercer University, my master's degree from Georgia State University, and my PhD from Clark Atlanta University, where I was the first Caucasian doctor out of a historically Black college. And so that's a big thing for me. I'm very honored and very proud. And clearly I'm very interested in the events that are going on right now. Let me give you a little bit of background as far as why I got involved in politics. When I was a little boy back in the 70s, I was precocious and fell in love with a little known congresswoman at the time by the name of Barbara Jordan. And Barbara Jordan and I wound up becoming pen pals. I wrote to her and gave her my opinion on things, and she didn't dismiss a child. She wrote back and gave me her opinion. And as the years went on, she and I stayed in touch. And one of my most prized possessions is a letter that I have matted and framed on my wall in my house here in Makaha. When I graduated from college, I invited her to my college graduation. And she said she couldn't take any of the credit for it because it was all the work I had done. Now, that was the type of person she was, and I decided I wanted to strive to be that type of person. The type of person who wrote to me when Jimmy Carter was running for president. I wrote to Jimmy and I said, Jimmy, you need to pick Barbara Jordan as your running mate. And I wrote Barbara Jordan the same exact letter. The responses I got from both of them, which I still hold to this day, are Jimmy Carter said, well, let me tell you Barbara's first. Barbara said, I don't think the country is ready for a woman or a black in that position yet. I was disappointed, but I understood where she was coming from. Jimmy's was the one who floored me, and I hold it dear to my heart to this day. He said if Walter Mondale had not chosen to be his second, she was his second choice to be president. So that tells you about where I came from politically in the state of Georgia. Not the typical red state, but the more democratic, loving, inclusive state. And it's my goal to help us get back to that point. And one quick shout out, I'll stop very quickly. Aloha to my Maui County peeps, because my first place of living in Hawaii was Kaunakakai, Hawaii. And I love the island of Molokai. So thank you very much for considering me. I love you. Mahalo nui loa.
Mahalo to you, Tim. Mahalo to you. Wonderful. Okay, Richard Robinson. Hi, from Kauai. Aloha to you. Aloha to you.
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank all of the other candidates who are running, because I know it's a lot to put yourself out there, and just for showing up. I mean, I think that says a lot about you and your desire and your commitment to our party. I'd also like to thank all of the folks who are on that are just listening, especially those from other candidates, from Amy, from Kamala, from Bernie. We're going to need everybody in this election, and having you on board for the Biden campaign is huge. And believe me, he will take everybody's opinion into consideration. Let me tell you a little bit about why I'm running. This is a little bit of a personal quest for me. I was on the train with Joe Biden in 1987 when he first announced for president in that year. And he announced in Washington, D.C. and then in Wilmington, Delaware. And so I've been supporting Joe Biden for a very long time. And in 2008, when he ran again for president, again, I supported Joe Biden. And the country was looking for somebody else, somebody with change and hope. But President Obama was actually looking for somebody to be his wingman in that office. And it happened to be Joe Biden. And I think Joe Biden's steady counsel and leadership through the 8 years with Barack Obama was part of the difference in terms of the successful presidency that President Obama had. So here I am on Kauai, and just to give you some background, I've served as a state delegate for 3 times now. I'm currently a state delegate from Kauai. I've worked with Democratic politics my entire life. I have the backing of J.D. Nielsen, who's the DNC chairperson and the founder of the Patsy Mink PAC. And I've worked with her for over 30 years. I've also worked with Tyler DeSantis, Tam, as part of the leadership team for the Biden for President campaign. But the stakes in this campaign, it is not a campaign between Republicans and Democrats, in my opinion. This is a campaign between Americans and Trumpites. And I think that's where we all are. We saw Colin Powell today come out and blast Trump. We saw today William Cohen come out and blast Trump. Joe Biden has the support of Democrats, Republicans, and independents. And I would be very honored and very humbled to be the one of the national delegates from Hawaii for Joe Biden. Thank you. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Mahalo, Rich. Okay, going on. I don't know if these folks are in the room, but I'm going to just call their names because they are on the ballot. Gwen Rulona, Teresa Shook. We see Teresa? Teresa Shook?
I'm here. Let me just.
Oh, there you are. Hi, Teresa. Aloha.
Aloha. I can start?
Yes, aloha to you.
Aloha, everyone. I'm Teresa Shook. I live in Hana, Maui. I've lived here for 20 years. I'm a retired attorney and the original founder of the Women's March. I'm also the mother of 2 grown boys and 5 grandgirls. And those girls are, and my sons also, are a big motivation in me wanting to do this to help get Joe Biden elected. I've lived here for 20 years, but I grew up in Greenfield, Indiana. I practiced law in Indiana, and I also practiced law in Santa Cruz, California. And I've always been passionate about equality and social justice, and stood up for marginalized and underserved communities. And so I've worked a lot with youth and women's issues and violence in those marginalized communities. And I've helped communities draft ordinances and laws to help get some of that changed. I know how to do that. I know how to read the laws and help people understand the laws. And I want to do this. I want Joe Biden to get elected because I know he has the experience to get the job done. I believe that I know he will bring a strong, diverse, progressive coalition together to be ready on day one. And he has the empathy that we need to heal the country. He has the experience to lead us in this time that's going to be difficult to get through. But he can do that from day one because of all of his experience. He's a decent person and he's a human person. And that's what this country needs right now. And for me, I want to do everything I can to see that we get that back as leadership in our country, the right kind of leadership. So I'm here asking for your vote, and I'd be humbled and honored to be the delegate from Hawaii.
Mahalo, mahalo, Teresa. Okay, Colin Smith. Colin. Maria Solomon. No. Kathleen Starr. Jason Watts. Shirley Yamauchi. Well, that's the end of the list. And what?
Shirley's here.
Shirley, where? Oh.
Hey, can you hear me?
Oh, there you are. Yes, Shirley.
Yes, I
good.
just took off my earphones.
Good. Great that you're
Hi,
here.
everybody. Yes, I'm always last. I'm going to be talking funny as I'm going to be going oral surgery shortly, not today. So give me a second to pull up my speech. So hi, everybody. Lorna, thank you. Hi, my name is Shirley Yamauchi from Makakilo Heights. I have lived in Makakilo Heights for 15 years now. I am from District 42-03. I'm a public school teacher, and there's the political side of me as well. For Precinct 4203, I am the second-time treasurer. This year, I'll be a first-time state convention to the 2020 virtual delegation, and I submitted my national delegate candidacy for Biden. On my teacher end, I am a proud 20-year member of the Hawaii State Teachers Association. I teach at Kapolei Middle School here in Kapolei. I am also the Leeward chapter president for HSTA. I've been that president since July of 2018. This is my third year of my presidential term, to over 3,000 Leeward teachers. At my school previously, I was a Leeward chapter treasurer from 2013 to 2015, the grade level representative from 2011 through 2020, the head faculty rep from 2000, gosh, I'm reading this list, lost my place, from 2012 to 2020. And I've been to the state convention from 2012 through this current year, virtually skipping 1 year in 2015, as I have my own son plus 2 teenage stepsons. HSTA was very kind enough to send me to 2 national trainings as well in Albuquerque and Denver. In addition to all the teacher things I do, I was a legislative aide to Senator Maile Shimabukuro in 2017. Last summer, while attending the NEARA in Houston, Joe Biden was there in person speaking to the 8,000 public school attendees at the George R. Brown Convention Center. And his quote was this: "I'd invest $100 billion in school districts to pay teachers for mentoring to teach other teachers. Folks, we need you in the schools teaching, not working 2 to 3 jobs. And during this COVID time, I have lost all 3 of my part-time jobs, unfortunately. So please consider having a public school teacher at the table. I've heard all of your very impressive biographies from all of you. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. My Gmail is sm@yamauchi@gmail.com. Once again, sm.yamauchi@gmail.com. And mahalo for voting for me today. Thank you.
Mahalo, Shirley. Mahalo. Right, I think that we're done with all of the candidates, but before we go, I'd like to ask Tyler Dos Santos Tam, who is chair of the Hawaii for Biden campaign, to say some things. He's speaking on phone, yeah?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. Well, thank you. I want to mahalo each and every one of you for not only putting in your paperwork to be considered as a delegate, but for taking the time out of your afternoon to be on this call. I also want to thank all of you for your dedication to Joe Biden, not only in this race, but for some of you, there are stories from previous campaigns and previous activities, and that sort of dedication is really important and really appreciated as well. I have 4 things that I want to cover really quickly. We have bumper stickers. If you want a free Biden 2020 bumper sticker, send us an email at Hawaii4Biden, that's F-O-R, Hawaii4Biden @gmail.com, and we will mail you a bumper sticker. Or if you have 2 cars, or if you have, your kids' cars, or whatever it might be, let us know how many bumper stickers you want. We also have some yard signs arriving next week. If you'd like a yard sign, please send us an email as well. For those of you on the neighbor islands, we'll find a way to get you the signs. Maybe as the travel quarantine lifts, we can put it on the bottom of a plane, and you'll get it hopefully fairly soon. So if you want a yard sign, please also email us at Hawaii4Biden@gmail.com. The third thing is there are some really excellent volunteers nationally who are part of a Letters to the Editor campaign for Joe. They've come up with a bunch of sample letters to the editor that they want people all around the country to sign and submit to their hometown papers. Having done a little bit of work in communications and media, I know that the letters to the editor, especially on the smaller papers throughout the state, they don't get all that many. And so if you send one in, there's a good chance that your letter will be read by your neighbors and friends, and hopefully that'll encourage them to get involved. So if you want to be a sign off on a letter or get a sample letter of your own, please also send us an email at Hawaii4Biden@gmail.com. The last thing is that while we're all at home, with some spare time, if you go to joebiden.com and click on Action Center, you can call or text voters from all around the country from either your computer or they have this great portal where you can text people without even using your phone. They won't know it's your number. They get one of these, you know, auto-generated numbers from a specific area code. And that is another way you can help, especially in these swing states. That's how Joe Biden is going to win this election. We need every electoral vote. And that's it. So bumper stickers, yard signs, letters to the editor. You can email us, hawaiiforbiden@gmail.com. And then calling and texting through the portal called the Action Center at Joe Biden's website, joebiden.com. Thank you, everyone.
Mahalo, Tyler. Can you stick around for a little bit too?
Yep,
Yeah,
I'll be on.
For questions. So I just like to cover a little bit now about who we can thank for all of this. Aaron is part of a team from District 17, the Zoom team that Karen Degner, Rich Halverson, Aaron, and Joe Francher has been part of that team as well to bring us Zoom. And we will be using Zoom. There's Rich there. And we'll be using Zoom in multiple events, from candidates fairs to and forums to region meetings and such. So I hope that the delegates to the National Convention will keep us in mind. If you have something that you'd like, you know, to use the Zoom account to have a meeting or to engage more people, to support Joe Biden in the upcoming months, please don't hesitate talking to us about it. We're real amateurs. This is our first Zoomathon. You are the fourth and last of all the Zoom meetings around it, and it's the first time we've done this. So, but please know that we're eager to serve and to, you know, to provide this service. I'd also like to thank Win Vong of the Young Democrats of Hawaii for putting together the candidates' profiles. We got not a lot of notice. We got the lists when you got them, which was last Sunday. And so we were able to communicate with you and get you to do some profiles. And Win put them all together, as well as Lynn Hiokomoto from District 33, who helped with the communications and networking and emails that you all got. So, and of course, the reason that we're doing this is because we don't have an in-person convention and we don't have the ability to actually see each other and hear each other. And so it was Bart and Tyler who initiated and agreed that we needed something else. And so that's when we brought in Win, and she was able to do the profiles virtually overnight. She did them overnight. And thank you for submitting to them. And then, of course, we put this together. We were going to do it originally on Saturday, but when we got wind that the Black Lives Matter march was going to happen, we decided to postpone it. I know that it doesn't give us as much time as we would have if we did it yesterday, but we just couldn't in good conscience conflict with that march. So it is a little late, we know, but the voters have until midnight tomorrow to vote, and these video tapes will be accessible to both Tyler and to Bart for distribution. You may, and in fact, I suggest that you do, contact those folks that you know are going to vote in this election, that they pledged that they would vote for Joe Biden in your CD, and in fact, they may have pledged to vote for you as a delegate. There have been some delegates who, some voters who have had difficulty getting their ballots. And so I'm going to give you a number, which is a hotline number. It's 888, not 808, 888 317 1906. That is the voting hotline. And if people have any questions or any problems voting, can't find their ballots, tell them to call that number, 888-317-1906. And they will respond. You have to leave a message. They will respond, and they will figure out a way of getting ballots to you, so to these voters. So meanwhile, though, I think that this was delightful. And if anyone else has anything, John, would you like to say some more about what's going to happen
I'd
next?
just like to say a little bit more about the next steps, if I could, please.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Lorna, for pointing out that the balloting ends tomorrow at midnight. The ballots will be counted and announced on Tuesday. Sorry, there's a siren going by my window. On the 13th, the Central Committee will meet in order to choose the PLEO and the at-large delegates. There are 3 PLEO delegates. 2 of them will be Biden delegates, and I don't think any of you are eligible to be PLEOs. If you do, you should have had your paperwork in already, probably anyway. There are also 4 at-large Biden delegates. And again, you need to have your paperwork in to be eligible for those, but if you don't win in the district level delegate selection, you may still have a chance, if you had your paperwork in, to be an at-large delegate. The at-large delegates are chosen for affirmative action purposes. We have certain affirmative action goals that we want to be able to meet. Depending upon who gets elected at the district level delegates, we will be choosing people. For example, we want, out of the 24 total delegates, we want at least 8 of them to be under the age of 35. So we'll probably be looking at finding some young people, perhaps some Native Hawaiians, probably Filipinos. Again, depends on what we get in terms of people elected at the district level on Tuesday to determine what we're looking for on Saturday, the 13th at the SCC. After we elect the PLEOs and the at-large, we'll have our delegation. And should you be elected to be part of that delegation, there will be a delegation meeting. The delegation meeting is primarily to choose the chair of the delegation, which is not the chair of the party. As a matter of fact, by tradition, if the governor of the state is a Democrat, the Democratic governor tends to be the chair of the delegation, at least for perfunctory purposes. But there will be a meeting to kind of organize the delegation after the SCC meeting on the 13th. Again, I encourage all of you to continue with the party. I'm so thankful we've had such a great round of discussion today. And I hope it was great for you as it was for me, getting to meet all of you and know all of you and know that our party is in good shape for the future. And hopefully we'll be able to elect Joe Biden. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And to repeat this, don't go away now. We've got to elect him in November, on November 3rd. And everybody needs to pitch in and get active. And if we can assure that here, then on Hawaii, let's also pitch in and do things as Tyler suggested in the key states on the mainland. There's 6 of them. They're really, really important. Oahu County Democrats, of which I'm part of, has a Blue Wave Committee, and we are isolating particular congressional districts in different states. And a key one that we'll be working with is Congressional District 11 in North Carolina. It is a district that was held by Mark Meadows, who was head of the very conservative group, and he's now working for Trump. And it was redistricted, and there's a real opportunity for it to be flipped. There's Cal Cunningham, who is also running for the US Senate in North Carolina, and of course Joe Biden, who really needs to win North Carolina. So we're going to be building a team on Oahu to work with them. And actually, if any of you are interested, we will be having a Zoom meeting on Saturday at 1 p.m. directly with Oahu Democrats with the Mo Davis campaign in North Carolina. And hopefully Cal Cunningham might be there as well. So very key state for the nation, and Oahu is kind of adopting it as a place to be. So if you're interested, let me know and I'll send you the Zoom link and you can join us on Saturday at 1. But meanwhile, this has been delightful. It's so good to look at you and see all these beautiful faces, and you were tremendously convincing, and you can't go away. Don't go away. You've got to stick with it. Stick with our party. And I think that's why you're here, because we all know that this is the most important election of our lifetime. No matter how old we are, it is still the most important election of our lifetime. And we really have to get rid of that guy, big time, big time. So I'm going to end the recorded part of this, and stick around, please. Mahalo to you all.